Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin, and I just watched a terrific video from Jess over at Roots and Refuge. She is doing this kitchen series where she talks about why and how to cook from scratch and the reasons behind it. And today is January 17th, so when you're watching this, go back and watch this video. She just put it out today, and it is fantastic. She's talking about the why behind cooking from scratch and why it's so pivotal that we cook from scratch. She talks about how a lot of our food has different preservatives in it, and it's just not healthy for you. And it was so funny. While I was watching, I was doing some stickers for the pantry, which I'll show you. But I was just sitting there like a fool, nodding my head, being like, yeah, you tell him, Jess, you tell him. And everything she was saying was my why, like the reason behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. Prime example, to give you a little bit of a tidbit that make you want to go watch her video. I talk about shredded cheese in all my videos, how I try to always buy blocks of cheese instead of shredded cheese, because they put an anti-caking agent on shredded cheese to keep it from caking. And the ingredient is a derivative of wood pulp. And so that's literally, you're getting wood pulp that's stopping your cheese from caking. And I sit there and I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want to eat that. Why would I eat that? And I look at all the times I buy shredded cheese and I'm like, that's gross. Why would I want that? So go watch her video, and she gives you a whole bunch more reasons why. She talks about other things that are in food, and it just is a really great starting point, and she has a whole bunch of episodes planned. It's a really great starting point for the why behind homesteading. I've gotten more confident, especially since I've started YouTube. I've honestly gotten a lot more confident around my friends and my family when it comes to homesteading, because I do get made fun of a lot, and that it's just how it is. The lifestyle that I lead at 31 years old, I cook all my own food. I grow a lot of my own food. I very much live what this generation would consider an old person's life. You know, how many 31-year-olds spend their Saturday night canning and cooking and freezing and all those things. And I've gotten a lot more confident since I've started my YouTube, because I found so many like-minded people who are also down this journey with me. And I can sit back and I can look back at it now and I can say, this is a new thing that people are used to convenience foods. And it's very new. And you look at the sense of time, it's very new that people find the lifestyle that I lead weird. This is a lifestyle that has been lived for hundreds of years in some sort of way. And it's not weird. This is stuff that you should know how to do for a variety of reasons. And every day that passes, I come up with another reason, just based on what's going on in the world, for why things like knowing how to grow your own food, knowing how to preserve food, why it is so important. Top 3 right off the top of my head: inflation. The cost of food right now is astronomical. If you know how to grow your own food, you're golden. If you're raising your own meat, or you have that local farmer that you are buying meat from, meat prices this year just might be a little bit fortune teller. Meat prices this year are going to be through the roof. Beef, don't even talk about it. There is going to be such a beef shortage, and or it's just going to be stupid expensive. And then I forget the third one. I don't know that I had 3. I had those 2. But those 2 things right away, right off the start, really are affecting the prices of everything. And especially if you're somebody that, like, I work one job. I'm not in a place where I make any money from YouTube yet, which is my ultimate goal, to help me live a little bit more comfortably. But if you are only one income and you have other mouths to feed, or maybe you do have 2 incomes and you have mouths to feed, and it's so hard in this day and age. I completely understand. I will jump right on that soapbox with anybody, and I will talk about how hard it is to just survive in this day and age. And when we talk about, that was the third thing, shortages between, like, pandemics, and we have worker shortages. So factories are still not running at full capacity. You know, there's so many long-term effects from COVID that we are still dealing with. And I don't know, who knows when these shortages are going to end and life is going to go back to normal. So knowing how to do these things is, I think right now is the best time to learn. So when anyone wants to kind of make fun of me and be like, you live like an 8-year-old, I do, but I am also fully prepared. I do have my pantry stocked. I do have freezers stocked of food. I do know how to grow food. But you could take it all the way today. And I know how to forage. I know how to find seeds. And I know how to survive. And again, do I think I'm going to get dropped in the middle of the woods and have to survive for 3 months? No. But it is a really good feeling knowing that in everything we have to worry about in this world, that my survival and my family's survival, when it comes to food, is not a concern, that I can 100% handle it and will be good. So watching Jess's video, I thought it would be probably fun and maybe beneficial to, especially we're in the 3 Hours Challenge, to do a tour of my working pantry. So if you haven't seen this before, this is a beautiful pantry that my dad built me. I need to fix my little tail. My little tail came down. But this is a beautiful pantry my dad built me. This screen door was a screen door on our house for a very long time. And it's not the screen door on our house anymore because I'll put a picture of her in here. We had a black German Shepherd named Blackie. I was very original with her name. Quick side story, she showed up at my grandpa's farm and my mom told me to name her and I didn't take time. I was just like, if I name her, maybe we can keep her. And I just spit out Blackie and that became her name. So very, very creative, Caitlin. At 7 years old, I was on it. But she would always sit inside the store and she would actually like push it open and she'd like, the screen was never in. When this store was on, the screen was never in because she kept like going through the screen trying to be wherever we were. So this is one of my absolute favorite pieces in my house, both because my memories of Blackie and then because my dad built it and I love it. So I gave Dad a picture and I said, make this happen. My dad loves when I do that. But I just thought it'd be a really good idea of like, this is my working pantry. And when I say I work from scratch, this is where I come from. Just to prove that I don't really do anything else. Let's take you. So you've seen the cannon pantry downstairs. The only other place that I have food is right in here. And all I have in here is some things I'm honestly getting rid of. I do have, this is Hickory Farms honey pineapple mustard. It is my favorite mustard when I make paninis, so I will buy this forever. Fight me on it. But I have fish sauce, I have coconut milk, I have apricot preserves, I have a couple of my favorite pickles, I have some soy sauce up here, jerk seasoning, tahini. All these are things so far that I can't make. But then over here I do have a lot of curries that once I go through these curries, I'm not going to buy anymore because I am making my own curry. And I have a jar of beets back there that I think I bought like 6 years ago that I haven't used. So we just ignore that because I grow my own beets and whenever I want beets, I go for my own beets. But that is the only other place that I have food in this house. I'm kind of looking around the kitchen, making sure. That is the only other place I have food in this house. So all of my food is 100% cooked from scratch. Okay, so I thought I would just spend a little bit of time going through what I have in here and how I use different things that I have in here. So right off the bat, you see I have this rack of my pre-mixed things. So I have cornbread, baked oatmeal, chocolate cake mix, white cake mix, snickerdoodle mix, and spice cake mix. I also need to go make a chocolate chip cookie mix, and I just thought in my head I'm gonna make an angel food cake. So future Caitlin, make note, you want to make an angel food cake mix. But these mixes are so great because when I want cornbread, I just come grab a jar and it's already pre-mixed. And then how I have, not that one, but how I have these is on the front I made a sticker that's slightly crooked, but I made a sticker that says what it is, and then on the back I have a list of the dry ingredients and a list of the wet ingredients. So when I go to dump this baked oatmeal into a bowl. I'm gonna add eggs, milk, melted butter, and vanilla, and then whatever I want to flavor it with, and that changes on the daily. But this is already pre-measured, ready to go. So a lot of people talk about they want convenience foods. They're buying, and this is the one Jess used, and I didn't mean to do this on purpose, but she talks about you can buy those I used to have some, those like separate packets of oatmeal, like the oatmeal packets, and people buy that for convenience. But you can do this. You can make up your own packets of oatmeal, or in this case is a baked oatmeal, or your own cookie mixes or cake mixes. You can spend 5 minutes doing this while your laundry's in the dryer, while your kid is brushing his teeth. Like find 5 minutes. And I don't have kids, so don't come at me if that's not a thing. But hopefully you can find 5 minutes at some point to just do one at a time. Make one cake mix, one thing at a time, and you've given yourself that convenience item for a fraction of the cost, and it has nothing bad in it. I wish I had, and I don't. If I can, I do have one at work. I will put a picture in here of the ingredient list of an oatmeal packet, and you can compare that to what is in mine, which is oats, brown sugar, cinnamon, baking powder, and salt, eggs, milk, melted butter, and vanilla. So take a look at what's in mine versus what's in the packet of oatmeal, and that packet costs so much more compared to this, and it just has things that are not good for you in it. So this is something that I like to do whenever I have 5 minutes. I like to find another cake mix that I need, something I don't have already. And the trick is I need to do a brownie mix, Future Caitlin brownie mix. So what I like to do is when I find myself reaching for something in the grocery store, I make a mental note. Go home and make that. You know, if you don't buy it today, go home and find a way to make that item easier for yourself in the future. So when you want that item, you can have it. I know a lot of people, and I'm just not a sweet person, which is okay. I don't have anything here to show you. But what a lot of people do is they like those chocolate cake mixes like in a cup, where you just make like a mug full of cake in the microwave. That is perfect if you have a sweet tooth. I 100% am on board with the little cake mix. I just never have a sweet tooth. But if you are someone that loves cake and you want that 9 p.m. or midnight cake sounds delicious. Take some time whenever you have downtime and put together 4 or 5 of those cake mixes. I've seen recipes online many times, and it's just the ingredients for that one single cake mix. So just start there. Start with what you're using, and think just for 5 seconds of how you can do it yourself. And I can almost guarantee you can find a way that you can make it healthier and for a fraction of the cost. So these are all of my prepared items. I also have on this shelf my medicines. I have my fire cider and I have my fermented honey and garlic. If you're new to me, I'm obsessed with this fermented honey and garlic. I love it. This is my unbleached flour for my sourdough, and then on the opposite side I have Bisquick. So let's talk for a second. When I first started this whole cooking from scratch, not buying convenience meals, really pushing myself to my max, I start with one item at a time. So I've talked about this in multiple videos, so I'm sorry if I'm a broken record at this point, but I started with mayonnaise. I made mayonnaise for the first time. And then it was tortillas. I said, you're not gonna buy tortillas anymore, you're gonna make your own. Then it was bread, and I said, you're not gonna buy bread anymore, you're gonna make your own. I think it was cake mixes then. I don't know where the line was, but it just was one item at a time. And once I mastered that one item, I added another one to the list. And there were 2 big moments that I don't think I will ever forget, just because it was so valuable to me. And it was so it was like one of those aha moments, like you did it. It was mayonnaise. So the first one was mayonnaise, and I'm a dip person. I use food as a shovel to get sauces into my mouth. If I could just drink sauces and it would be socially acceptable, I would. So I use a lot of mayonnaise because I make a sauce for everything. And I use a lot of mayonnaise. So I was making all these sauces, and when I first decided no more mayonnaise, you were going to make your own, for the first probably 2 months, I would be sitting on the couch, okay, go make dinner. We're doing XYZ. We need a dip. And I would go into the fridge to reach for the mayonnaise and be like, oh, this is annoying. I gotta go make mayonnaise. I need the eggs, I need the oil, and it was annoying. I vividly remember the very first time I went to make a dip and I opened the fridge and I reached for the eggs. And I reached for the eggs, I got the eggs in my hand and I paused because I realized I had trained my body. My mind didn't go to the jar of mayonnaise anymore. It went to the eggs. I had won that battle. And that was so exciting for me. I was just giddy because I did it. And to be honest, I've never struggled with anything since. Once I did mayonnaise, and that's just me, but once I did mayonnaise, and I made the commitment to do the next item, I never struggled. So what I do is, let's go with these crispy fried onions. This is not what we're going. This is not a good example, but I don't throw this away and decide you're only making crispy fried onions on your own. I use up what I have, and when this item is gone, then I say, okay, you're not buying any more. Now you make it. So I don't want to waste money because money is, I work hard for my money, and these things are expensive. So for me, that's how I did it. I didn't just get rid of everything. I used up an item, and when that item was used up, when I wanted to replace it, that's when I decided you're going to make it yourself. So the second memorable moment for me actually happened about a month ago. I was just sitting in the recliner, I think eating dinner, I don't even know, and it hit me that I've been living this way for about 2 years now. And my last massive grocery store, it's January, I just picked up groceries on Saturday. It's Tuesday. And my last major grocery store haul was in July. Now, it is just me. I don't cook too often. I probably cook 2 to 3 times a week on average. And then I use lots of leftovers, and I kind of cook in bulk, and then so I have leftovers. But my last big grocery pickup was in July, and my average on, like, my normal average for the last 5 years I've owned this house was, I was lucky if I could go 2 months. And I looked back at the receipts a couple years ago to now. The receipts a couple years ago were boxed macaroni and cheese. I don't remember. The boxed oatmeal. It was canned items. It was all prepared food, processed food, canned biscuits, cheddar cheese, all of this stuff. That was my receipt then. My receipt this Saturday was 5 different types of vinegar. Apple cider vinegar, balsamic vinegar, rice vinegar, white vinegar, and red vinegar. All these different vinegars. It was blocks of cheddar cheese. It was, I'm trying to think of what else it was. It was dried chickpeas. There wasn't a single process. It was a lot of cat food. It really was a lot of cat food. There was not a single processed item on that receipt. And I honestly didn't even need to go to Walmart for any of these things. I just really needed cat food. So I'm like, while I'm getting a pickup, I might as well get everything I need. I could have easily went multiple more months without having to go to the grocery store to get these items. And that for me was like such a eye-opening experience. Like, this is what you set out to do, and you're doing it. You're doing it. That little cabinet of processed food is all I have left. And so much of that, once it's gone, I'm not replacing. So I think that is so exciting, and it's so completely doable. So you start small and you go from there. So we're gonna move from this shelf. Oh, and the top shelf is a mess, but it's all my Canon items / croutons. My mom buys croutons and gives them to me when she doesn't want them anymore. So I have lots of croutons, but sunflower seeds and Canon stuff. So now here's where we find a lot of our produce. I have oats, grits, cornmeal, arrowroot powder, cocoa powder, basmati rice. I have lots of different types of beans. In here I have pinto on the table that needs a container. I have black beans, and I have garbanzo beans, panko, rice, clear gel, breadcrumbs, and flaxseed. So just in this shelf, there is so much that you can do with oats and grits. I do so much with oats. Grits are my favorite thing. Cornmeal. Arrowroot powder I use both in my things like my deodorants and like dry shampoo, but I also fry with arrowroot powder. I love frying with arrowroot powder. Different rices, pancos, and then different flours and my clear gel. Again, and now this point is where I'm buying in bulk. I'm buying the big bags. I'm buying the big bags, and I'm storing much more than what you buy in one single container, if that makes sense. So this is multiple things of grits, but I buy it in bulk, so I get much more for a quarter of the price, or for a fraction of the price. I also have things that I store for future use, like dried whole eggs. I bought this probably in August. I bought this, and this is just freeze-dried eggs. And I saw the egg prices come in, and I bought that for the day that I don't buy eggs anymore. The egg prices, I don't think we've seen the top of them, so I'm kind of just saving that for when I'm not going to go above $5 a dozen for eggs. So when they hit that point, and they actually have hit that point, but I have a local farmer that we're buying from. Once they hit that point, then I will stop buying fresh eggs and open those freeze-dried eggs. And then down here on the bottom shelf, I just have all my different pastas, spaghetti, angel hair, fettuccine, rotini, bow tie. I have this cute little one that I just got that I love. It is called Golden Nugget Ratatouille. I think that's how I say it. I have lasagna noodles, all the things I need for pasta. I have a thing of white sugar because I prefer to use cane sugar, but I keep white sugar in here because every now and then you need white sugar. And then I have some dried cranberries. I top so many things with dried cranberries. I chop Brussels sprouts, salads. There's my main things. Brussels sprouts and salad, and I eat a lot of both, so they get my dried cranberries. On my kitchen counter, I have my brown sugar, my cane sugar, and my flour. But from this pantry, my spice pantry, my freezers, and my can pantry, this is all I cook from. I hope this gives a little bit of inspiration, kind of, if you've been on that fence that you want to start looking more into cooking from scratch and cutting out processed foods, cutting out all that junk. It is 100% doable. Start one item at a time, and before you know it, you will not have many processed foods in your house at all. I did forget, I wanted to make notion of that I have Bisquick. You can make Bisquick, your own Bisquick. I haven't done that yet. But again, I'm not 100% there. Like, that's not all what I'm trying to get across but this is showing how you take steps at a time. So I have this big Bisquick to use up. I have a box here that is half full, mostly full. Once this is used up, once that's used up, I might look at making my own Bisquick to save money, because Bisquick is a little expensive for what it is. But this is just great ideas for where to start. You'll notice I used to buy those packets of 90-second rice. Again, super convenient, super easy, but you notice I have none of them on the shelf. I have my basmati rice, and I have white rice, and I have brown rice in another cabinet that I need to put into containers. It's just in a big bulk bag right now. But I cut them out. Start just one thing at a time. It is 100% doable. And I think there's nothing prettier than a pantry that just has different pretty jars and whatnot. Even when the jars are empty. This is my jar for chocolate chips, and I haven't opened a new bag yet. So even when the jar is empty, they're still pretty. This is your permission, I guess, to get started, or it's the dare, or it's the challenge, whatever you need to kind of give yourself a little push to step into this world. It's 100% worth it. You won't regret it. You will feel so much better knowing all of the things that you are cutting out of your body, that you are cutting out of your family's bodies. When I go out to eat, I don't pick what food I want to order based on what's in it. I don't go, oh, did you buy that mayonnaise in the store? No. I don't do that. And I have a big old bowl of Welch's fruit snacks. And if we look at the ingredients for Welch's fruit snacks, it is fruit puree, corn syrup, modified cornstarch, citric acid, lactic acid, natural acid, ascorbic acid, and that's where I lose it. That's where I lose it. So there's a lot of ingredients in these fruit snacks that I can't pronounce, and I guarantee are not good for me. However, I love these things like nobody's business, and I cannot make these. At least I've not found a way to make these myself. So the point is, you don't need to cut out everything. You don't need to say, I'm never putting this in my body again. But if you do these little things, then you can allow yourself some of the pleasures of the things that aren't good. I can have a Welch's fruit snack every couple of days, and I don't feel bad about it. I can go out to eat, and I can eat whatever I want. I go to friends' houses, and I don't care if it's homemade or not. I joke with them, but I don't care if it's homemade or not. I don't care what's in it, you know? This is something that I do in my own house, in my own homestead. And even just a little bit, I'm cutting all this stuff out just a little bit, and I feel like maybe that little bit is going to help me. But then when I'm even more excited for it, and if you ask me the why for why I live like this, it's to cut out everything, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's when I have kids, they're going to start from day one living like this. They will still have access to all the other things, but there'll be treats. Instead of having Pop-Tarts every single day for breakfast, that Pop-Tart will be a treat. But they're going to start out their lives living like this. So I just think, and I'm excited for how many processed ingredients or how many bad chemicals and ingredients I'm going to cut out of their life from the very beginning, because I learned how to live this way before they were even an iota of a thought in my mind. And I think that's exciting. I think knowing that when I bring these kids into the world, I'm already giving them a better start. Years from now. That seems very weird to say. But it's a thought, because I'm doing this not just for me, but for my future family, so that they are automatically off on a better foot than most of the world. So I hope this gives you an inspiration. If you want some ideas on how we are cooking, I am posting every single one of my pantry challenge videos. That was never a plan that I had, and it just kind of happened, and now we're here. So I am posting just quick videos of not necessarily how I'm making everything, but what I'm making. And then the big goal for me for the pantry challenge is taking my leftovers and turning them into something else, so I'm not getting tired of the leftovers, and I'm creating new dishes. It's January 17th, and already the first leftover, well, not the first, but one of the leftover challenges that I did is, so I don't like rice. I made rice, and normally, traditionally, I would have let that extra rice I had go bad because I don't like rice. And part of the challenge is forcing yourself to live by the rules that you set for yourself. So I told myself, no, you're not getting rid of that rice. And I found a recipe for a cheesy broccoli chicken rice. And that sounds good to every normal person out there except me, who doesn't like rice. And I was like, I would have never made this dish in a million years. I never would have made it. I never would have got it at a restaurant. I never would have had this dish in my entire life. I made it. I loved it. It is 100% on my rotation. I'm already planning future freezer meals where I make this and put it in the freezer. 100%. That's already a recipe that I got from this pantry challenge that will be with me for years to come. And that's what I love with the pantry challenge, is it's challenging you to step outside your comfort zone, do something different. Thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you check out Jess's original video. I can link that down below. And she goes really much more in depth into the why and the how and the what and the where. And it's fantastic. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you on the next video.